All right. Getting ready. All right, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. Strong storms out in Montana heading into North Dakota tonight. Now, they're severe out there. Our risk of severe is low. We're going to go over that storm, though. Anybody in the wool patch of northeast Montana heading out towards, well, areas east of Glasgow, seeing significant wind potential from a storm making its way there. We're going to cover that, and I'll have your hour-by-hour forecast update and have details on when showers and storms impact your area as we head into the morning hours right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
And a quick mention from my sponsors at Robert Gibb and Sons. Hey, have you been thinking of upgrading your heating and air conditioning unit? Well, if you do that, they will throw in a free water heater. Now, call my friends at Robert Gibb and Sons a call and tell them Hutch sent you. Now let's get right over to the radar because this has been an interesting night of developing storms right along the Highway 2 corridor in Montana. Now we have a smattering of scattered showers working their way through central parts of North Dakota. We'll start there and then we'll analyze that storm. And I said this in the post on Facebook, but if you know a friend in Montana, share this with them because northeast Montana is getting ready for a very windy line of storms working their way through there. I think some 80-mile-per-hour gusts or better could be possible in isolated areas as it moves towards Wolf Point. Right now, McCluskey and Sheridan County, a scattered shower or thunder shower working its way through. Let me make sure the lightning data is on here so we can see that. I do believe it is. And again, thanks so much for your support and following Hutch here. North of Kenmare, as we look up into parts of southern Manitoba, we have a strong cell working its way along, and all these storms generally moving eastbound along the Highway 2 corridor and points north is where the activity is now. Look at Wolf Point. Now, there is a warning for Wolf Point. Here's the latest from the National Weather Service with regards to the details of this warning, and it says 53-mile-per-hour movement from west to east. So the storm's moving east at 50 miles per hour. Hail, nickel in diameter, but 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts is what they're expecting. Now, here's why I think we could be seeing even greater than that in a few spots. And there is some advisories to the north side. I call these advisories or statements for strong and windy storms that'll be just near the Scobie area as well. Look at this. Wolf Point heading towards you and points just south. This backward C shape is a gusting line segment. And what we're going to do is take a look at the single radar site data coming out of Glasgow. Here it is. So this storm is very nasty. Has that backward C shape, and there is some hail contained in that cell, and it is moving right towards Wolf Point and points south. That's where the gustiest of the winds are likely to be taking place. This storm is super nasty with its wind speeds, though. Let's look at the velocities on this as we take a look at the radar. And what you're going to notice with regards to that is some very bright colors here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on this and ask, what are these bright colors measuring here with regards to wind? And now what I want to do is make sure I'm looking at the right kind of velocity because it looks like we're getting some folding going on here. That is what we call that. So let me turn this over and look at some data that's not folded. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be a look at some wind speeds. You're not going to believe these wind speeds that we have here. Okay, here we go. Now, when we look at these wind speeds and velocities that are working their way off to the east, let me go ahead and point them out here. Here we go. 40, 50 mile per hour gusts there. I think that's storm relative. That's not what I want. I want the base. There we go. So sorry about that. Now that I got the right product, this storm here is capable of producing 80 mile per hour wind gusts. There it is, moving right into Wolf Point now. So if you're in Wolf Point, you should be getting out of things or staying out of windows that are facing the west where this storm is coming from. There's going to be the potential for isolated areas, not everywhere, seeing some gusts up to around 80 miles per hour. Now, this measurement is taken by the Doppler radar up in the sky. This is above the ground. But storms like this produce a downdraft, and sometimes this energy can absolutely get mixed down to the ground. These are higher base thunderstorms, but that aside, the wind speeds being measured by Doppler radar here are quite impressive with this storm and are approaching 80 miles per hour, moving right into Wolf Point right now. So that storm is a dangerous one. If you are in Poplar, you're in the path of the storm right now. Let's go ahead and measure how long it will take to get there. Again, it's moving at about 55 miles per hour from west to east along Highway 2 and points south. So we'll go ahead and track the leading edge of the gusty wind right here, and then we'll move this out at 55 miles per hour, maybe a little better than that. Now, the times that you see here are Central Time. I know Montana is in Mountain Time, but the computer here at Hutch's desk is in Central Time. So you'll have to back this off an hour. 7:29 for Wolf Point. That's basically now. It's hitting now with the gustiest of the wind. Batten down the hatches, stay away from the windows. And again, this will be a west to east wind coming at you from the west, right down the Highway 2 corridor there. And it does look like Poplar will be seeing this storm as we get to 7:50 Mountain Time. So these are in Central Time. I apologize for that. 7:50 Mountain Time. Brockton, Montana. 8:04. You can expect this storm to move in toward Culbertson if it's still blowing in your direction by 8:24. So this is a fast mover, folks, riding along right through northeast Montana. And there have been some reports of hail with this storm, but now wind looks to be the biggest threat as far as this storm goes for now. So I wanted to get that out there because this storm is very, very robust as it works its way through. Storm Prediction Center. Will these storms be severe as we go into our area during the overnight? And the answer to that question is basically no, we're not expecting that. Let me clear off that. There we go. Okay, so the area of green here has a risk of some storms being severe. It's very close to where we have the severe storm now. Williston, maybe up towards Crosby, Bowbells, those areas could see a stout thunderstorm tonight. That's about it. Central parts of Kansas are seeing severe thunderstorms as well. Wind is the main threat from those as we head to the evening, and they have dropped the risk for severe thunderstorms out in parts of Indianapolis. Now, let's go ahead and load up your radar forecast here, and we'll take a look at the track of these storms as we go through. So pardon me while I go ahead and get this loaded up on the computer for you here, and we'll look at the model data that takes us out. Let's go ahead and put the clouds in there too. So we're going to go ahead and look at the clouds and the radar, and we're going to look at this out into the weekend now. So we'll go out a healthy amount here. And while this is loading, let's see, here we go. While this is loading, I'll tell you that the best chance of storms tonight will be overnight into parts of northern North Dakota. So that's where the best chance of seeing these storms will be as it's loading up. Now, one thing to keep in mind, it's going to be breezy in all locations, and these storms won't arrive into the Grand Forks and Fargo areas until we get well into the morning hours. But you can see as the storm is tracking this through, as the model is tracking this through, that the general trend for these storms is going to be to roll right along the international border. So let's zoom in and get to your hometown. Now, if you're in Williston, the storm that's out in that Glasgow area is going to be rolling towards you, and it will be making its way in your general direction by the time we get to, well, it's after 8:30. Let me make sure I put the model time up here. Okay, there we go. So 9 o'clock, we could have some storm development in the next half hour. These storms are moving at 50 miles per hour or better, so it will not take them long. Whether or not these storms fire up out ahead of the main system, I'm not guaranteeing that they will, but we are seeing a couple of showers here working their way through the central Dakotas. So anywhere you see that cloud band there could be a shower or thunderstorm into the evening hour. We're quiet in Fargo. We're quiet in Grand Forks and all of Minnesota, enjoying beautiful conditions. Overnight, these storms will continue to trek along the border. Notice Brandon, Manitoba. Notice you folks out there up into the Winnipeg area. All of you will have a chance at some robust storms overnight. The risk of severe is not zero. Gusty wind and some hail of around 1/2 inch in diameter, about 1.25 centimeters, if I'm doing the conversion right there in my head there quickly. But essentially, yes, a couple of these storms could have some hail overnight. Notice, in the morning hours, 6 a.m., the northern counties in North Dakota and northwest Minnesota have a shot at some showers and storms. Look at what's going on, percolating out in the Twin Cities area. Wilmer out towards Minneapolis, this model's picking up a little bit of instability in the atmosphere there. But this is the main surge of cold, dry air that's working its way into the region. Now, as we go ahead and look as this carries through mid-morning and by noon, it's moving out of Lake of the Woods, a few clouds, and that is it. What we will notice is ahead, you can kind of see the clouds here. That's the cold front. Ahead of the cold front or east of it, we'll have a southwesterly flow. It's going to be warm again. Not as hot as we've been all week, but warm again, near 80 for some of you. But back here in western North Dakota, northeast North Dakota, the winds will be shifting and they'll become northwesterly. And when that happens, it's a cool pool that will be spinning its way down, and that's going to relieve the heat and the humidity here in the northern plains as we go through. Now, as we look at your Saturday evening, look at this. Rochester out into parts of central Wisconsin, all the way through Iowa. Chance for some strong storms. They could be severe as well. And Texas, a very good chance of some real robust storms rolling out of New Mexico and into the panhandle of Texas and into western parts of Kansas as well. And look at Colorado. Abundant amounts of rain in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, west of Denver and west of Colorado Springs as we go towards your Saturday night. Carrying us in towards Sunday here in the northern plains as we go through, we're going to be quiet and quite dry as the system works its way through. We'll have decreasing wind, increasing sunshine, and cooler weather than we've had. So a little picture of how cool that pool of air is, and I'll look for your questions here in the forecast discussion area here. But again, one of the ways to kind of see how big of a transition between yesterday and today's weather and how things have changed. One thing I like to look at is temperature change across the country. And it can tell us where there's some highlights of some areas that are experiencing some pretty big changes in their local weather. So to do that, I put together this image here a little bit ago, and I want to point this out once again. Looking across the nation, we have a huge cool down. It's about 20 degrees cooler in parts of New Mexico and northern Texas and western Oklahoma. That cool pool is going to work out into the northern plains of Texas and into Oklahoma tomorrow, fueling some strong to severe storms. See what's moving through Glasgow tonight? It's this sharp, cool, dry air mass that is making it 25 degrees colder than yesterday at this time in Calgary. That's going to be working its way into the western Dakotas tomorrow. So big time temperature differences across the region. Let's go over your morning temperatures, shall we? Here's what you can expect. The blue pool of cool air as the showers will be exiting Williston, exiting Minot, and passing into northern parts of North Dakota and northwest Minnesota first thing in the morning. Our winds in Fargo, southeasterly, Grand Forks, southeasterly. But out here in the central part of the state, you're looking at a northwest wind. And that will make its way into our area in northern parts of North Dakota as we go through your Saturday afternoon. The showers and thunder showers will exit off into the Arrowhead. The warmest weather will be near the Twin Cities, where once again we could see some stout thunderstorm development there in points south and east. For us, look at the winds increasing 15 to 30 miles per hour. It'll be gusty, at least briefly. And then a quick look at your Sunday. It looks like temperatures will be near 70 and even some 60s out there, and low 60s at that near the international border. Some call it refreshing, but it'll be a big change for sure. Now, as we look at your 7-day planner in the Fargo area, temperatures near 70 for Saturday and Sunday. Mid 60s, as we just showed you, near the international border is going to be the rule for both days. Not as windy on Sunday, and all of us will see sunny skies and cool, crisp mornings. Look at Fargo's temperature Monday morning. Whew, the bus stop, kids, is going to be cold out there. We're talking 39 degrees in Fargo, and I think we'll see some areas down in the mid 30s in a few spots. Pay attention. I'll have an update for you on Sunday. Other than that, a nice slow and gradual warming trend after Tuesday carries us right back into that 80-degree threshold as we go into the latter part of the work week, which is well above average for this time of the year. Okay, now I'm going to take a look at your questions here briefly so that I can see that I'm keeping you up to date. Hello from Roy Lake. Thank you very much. Can't wait for the humidity to go down. That's a real cool thing to watch as well. One thing I will show you here about the humidity, just to address your comment there, Judy, and it's a good one. It's the fact that we can see some big changes in our humidity. Let me load up the big change graphic for humidity right now, and our area has seen significantly drier air in blue make its way in. So things have really dropped with regards to the dew point temperature here over the last 24 to 36 hours. So that's a good thing. And when we look at the dew point temperatures right now, let's see if I have those here. Well, I'm going to load up the now temperatures. Here's the now temperatures across the area. Look at Fargo cooling off to 72 now. Jamestown at 63. It is 68 for Grand Forks, 70 in Devil's Lake. Right now it's 61 in Waskish. Did you see that? And Roseau, you're at 61 as well, or is that? No, that's War Road. Roseau, you have 61 as well. So it has really cooled off in the northern tier of counties. We do still have temperatures in the mid 70s though, from Watertown and into Minneapolis, St. Paul at this hour. Now, let me see if I can find the dew point temperatures. I'm not seeing those. So, I'll just load them up. It's going to say temperatures up above, but I'm going to load up the now look at our dew point temperatures. So here we go. Let's switch this over. It's kind of fun to take a look at that, isn't it? Here's the dew point numbers. Okay. So notice our dew points are in the 40s here in Fargo and 52 Grand Forks, dew point of 45 degrees in Minot, and it is down into the 30s in parts of Montana, Cutbank, Montana. Dew points in the 30s means your temperature at night can sneak down into the 30s on a calm, long, clear night. And there will be some clearing skies in places like Cutbank once the storm makes its way out. So that's a look at dew point temperatures right now. I apologize for the label being mislabeled. Now, our weather has been above average, and as we look at the forecast for temperatures over the next 8 to 14 day window, remember that's the end of Hutch's 7-day planner, where you see the red colors here. The temperature outlook is still mighty sizzle worthy out there, as there's going to be a very good chance in the deep red of northern Minnesota being well above average in that 8 to 14 day window. That's the week 2 of the 2-week forecast. So above average temperatures will basically be the rule as we go through the 8 to 14 day window. And as far as precip goes, well, it looks pretty quiet here, and in fact dry. So we're going to call it drier than average, a pretty good bet in that 8 to 14 day window. And this is from my friends at the Climate Prediction Center. Great comments here. Perfect night for a bonfire, says Brian. I totally agree. I need to get out there and do that myself. Trying to wrap this up a little bit early so I can get a little bit of homework done, if you know what I mean, around the house here. So watching from St. Hilaire, good to have you on board. Penny from Devil's Lake, and Brenda, thanks for watching from the Minot area. Grafton joining in. Bemidji, Joanne, good to have you on board, as well as Gonvick. Carrie, good to have you on board as well. So that's a look at your weather. And once again, we're going to end with a quick look at the regional radar, and you will see, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning now it's a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm working its way through Wolf Point, Montana right now. Backward C shape there, definitely still a windy and gusty storm. We could see some gusts, as I measured out earlier, that do get close to 80 miles per hour in isolated places. This is not the most populated place in northeast Montana, but Wolf Point certainly is well populated. Poplar is a busy town as well. North of Circle there, between Wolf Point and Circle, is where that storm is going to be crossing through at this time. So be prepared for very gusty winds there. The storms that are north of the Highway 2 corridor are lower wind speed and less impactful hail as well. So the risk of storms there, not too high. We do have a couple of thunder showers in the Devil's Lake Basin showing up as we look out there. And well, why not take a look at the Montana road map? I was looking at that north of the Wolf Point area here just a little bit ago. Let me go ahead and pull this up and see if I can. Let's see, how do I get out of that? There we go. Okay, so now let's go to Wolf Point area here. Let's look out near Poplar and see what's coming. Dark skies, that's what's coming. And this photo was taken at 8:30 p.m., so just a little bit ago Central Time. And as you take a look at those dark skies, that's what's moving in the general direction of you folks in Poplar. And that's looking the other way in town. Now as we look north of Let's do north of Wolf Point and see if we can get a view from the south. I think that there is one camera here, angle, that does show us that. Let me see. Ooh, yeah, there it is. This is impressive. Okay, so there you have the towering thunderstorm in the Big Sky country of Montana. Why is it Big Sky? Well, there's a lot of sky, not many trees out there. And let's see what we got going on. Okay, so what you're looking at here, and I'm not on the screen to point for you here, but You see the bright colors where the sun is behind the dark cloud, the orange colors you see there. On the right side, there's a lowering of the cloud base there, that little chunk, that lowering of the cloud base, that is a wall cloud, folks. Now, doesn't mean it's rotating, but that storm does have some structure to it. The bases of the cloud here are pretty high as well, meaning the rain has to fall a long ways before it makes its way down to the ground, but expect heavy rain from that Montana thunderstorm. And as we look in on the North Dakota road report map, when we can look in on the central part of the state and take a look at some of the cameras there with the showers that are making their way through Sheridan County, we'll go ahead and do that in the Fessenden area and see if there's anything showing up on that camera right now. It's getting a little dark, as you can see. Oh, yeah. So there's that thunder shower working its way through high base thunderstorms, and there's a nice little rain shaft making its way down in that particular area. So we do have some of these storms that are making their way through parts of the state here that could be indeed producing some rain that's making its way down to the ground. I'm seeing some killdeer showers and out near Dickinson as well. We'll cover that real quick and see if we can see north of Dickinson what's going on. It's getting a little dark out there. Oh, there. Kind of a faint view of the skyline out there, but there are some high base thunder showers out there in western North Dakota too. Hopefully, if you need some rain, you got a chance at getting some. All right, don't forget to upload your awesome photos of colors from the trees in Minnesota. Fall colors are making themselves known. It'd be a great weekend to do a northern Minnesota trip as the colors are starting to show. And if you see some, snap photos and upload them at hutchesweather.com. For now, storms will move through the northern tier of counties in North Dakota through the overnight hours. The risk of severe is low. It's not zero, but it's low. The best chance of anything severe will be in the next couple of hours in the oil patch in Williston and maybe down towards Watford City and McKenzie County and on up towards Crosby. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. If anything gets nasty, I'll let you know, but otherwise have a wonderful night and a great weekend ahead. Thanks for watching.